Hello, this is Corinne, and I am sitting here right now recording my very, very long and hopefully entertaining, fingers crossed, podcast about AI. I'm kind of excited. It's kind of fun to me, so I want to just dive in. So first things first, I think it's kind of funny to start with whether you're in my English 1102 class or if you're watching this somehow from my YouTube channel, whatever have you. I think it's kind of funny for me to start with the fact that it is like a known thing, especially in class. I'm an AI hater, okay? I'm not shy about it, okay? I'm not quiet about it at all. And it's kind of this little running joke that's been going on this whole semester. So, like I said, very open about it, but I don't think I've ever dove deep into why. Like, I know we did a project for the podcast. I talked about how I feel like AI makes people lazier, which I still stand by. I know in a writing assignment, I told a story about my friend getting caught using AI and almost like completely screwing himself over. But I never talked about like the true, genuine reason. So I think that's where I'm gonna start. So a little fun fact about me that not a lot of people know, I write poetry in my free time. It's fun, it's an outlet, it's something I've always enjoyed. So back in high school, my middle high school years, I had a teacher who came to me and was like, hey Corinne, there's this district poetry contest. I think you should enter it. Okay, let's see what you can win. So I spent like forever and a day crafting what I felt was the perfect poem, okay? I'm not gonna lie, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into that poem. And I was so nervous, but I was like, you know what, to be honest, I got this in the bag. So I go to the contest, and I lost. And when I say I lost, I mean I came in second place, which I don't care, I'm a sore loser. If it's not first place, I lost. So the girl who came in first place actually went to school with me as well. She was like a year above me, so I didn't know her very well, but whatever. So yeah, she beat me for first place. Like I said, sore loser, that hit my ego. Fast forward another year, she graduates. I'm still in high school. She comes back to chaperone for a trip. And I'm a nice gal, so I started talking to her. And we, funny enough, got on the topic of the poetry contest. And ever so, swiftly, without batting an eye, didn't think twice, she jokingly was like, oh my god, yeah, I thought your poem was so much better than mine, I can't believe that I beat you. And I feel bad because I used AI to help me write mine. I beg your finest pardon. I don't think I've ever been so livid in my entire life. And I don't know what pissed me off more. The fact that she used AI to help her, or that she was so nonchalant about it. Because personally, I was screaming, crying, and sliding down the wall. And I think that was my villain origin story. I can confidently say from then, I've just hated it. And I think with good reason. So there you have it. If you know me, if you don't, there is my villain origin story as to why I despise AI. And you cannot look me in my audio and tell me that I'm wrong for that. You just can't. You can't. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get back to the original plot of the movie. So how I'm here, why I am recording this podcast. So this is for class, of course, and one of the first assignments that we did, as a building block for, getting to the point where I am now, was to create research questions about our topic, obviously, as you know, mine being AI. And I will say my hatred for it, although of course, as you heard not even 30 seconds ago, of course I had my reasons for it, but I think doing that assignment kind of helped me create a logical reason for why I felt that way. It forced me to actually form an opinion outside of just my emotions. And I think that's probably one of the most important pieces of this assignment that we've done so far, because I think it was just really a great starting point. So I remember my questions, if I'm remembering correctly. I had three. We had to do three of them. My first question was, why has AI gotten so popular over time? Because I just feel I know realistically it's always been around because we literally have Siri on our phones and we have for years. But I feel in the past 2, dare I say even 3 years, I'll say 1 to 2 years, it has just become so popular with ChatGPT, with those websites that you can generate images with, those weird pregnant cat videos that I'm always seeing on my Instagram Reels. They're becoming more and more frequent. And to me, it just feels like it came out of nowhere, or it got so popular out of nowhere. So that was one that I was really curious about. Another one of my questions, well, my last two questions kind of go hand in hand a little bit. So my second question was, is there going to be a way to cite AI, or is there already a way to cite AI? It's said that AI pulls information from all over the internet or all over databases, whatever have you. So I'm thinking to myself, if the information is from everywhere, you can't cite everything. So I was really curious, is it ever going to be like acceptable academically to just quote unquote, and I like cite AI? I can't imagine myself putting in parentheses ChatGPT, but like, is that what we're heading towards? I don't know. And then my last question was, and I think it's the most similar to kind of what I did my research on. My last question was, where does the software pull information from? I know it says, and I quote, from everywhere, but what does that really entail? And I think that's kind of the one I stuck to the most. I think my question 2 and question 3, like I said, they kind of went hand in hand, and that's kind of what I stuck to the most. But that last question definitely was something that I was like, let's expound on that. So after thinking on it some more, I decided that my official, I just realized I'm doing air quotes and like you can't see me. So my official quote unquote research question was going to be, how do we know if the information that AI gives off is credible or not? And like I said, I'm thinking because, if it pulls information from everywhere, there's so much fake information all over the internet. I mean, we literally have Wikipedia that people think is like a genuine source, but college kids back in the day were like going on Wikipedia and putting whatever they wanted on the internet. If it's things like that, like how do we know if the information is real? If there's just so much propaganda, there's so much falsehood out there, How do we know if it's genuinely useful? Now, I will say it was a little hard for me doing research because while AI is such a popular subject, I mean, there's so much, information out there about it, so many websites, so many articles, it's easy to find information about AI. I feel like the concentration in research I did was very niche. And it was kind of difficult for me to find like concrete evidence, not things that like alluded to it or what have you, like genuine, like this is why it's not credible. But I digress. Excuse me. So yeah, then I decided that I was going to dedicate my research to, and not trying to be a hater or anything, not trying to be funny, but I wanted to mainly research the ways in which AI sometimes cannot be credible. And I would like to say, I wanted to pause and make a little disclaimer before I get into my research, what I looked up, what I found, how I felt, whatever. I just want to pause and say, I'm not an idiot, okay? I'm not stupid. I'm a very realistic person at the end of the day. I know that by me sitting down and making this podcast for my English 1102 class, whoever you are listening to this, I know that it's not going to fully convince somebody to stop using AI. It's too popular, it's too accessible, and as humans, as people, we're naturally attracted to easier things. So it would be pointless for me to sit here. And I think that's another reason why I kind of shifted my attitude when it came to my research. I was so prepared when I first started thinking of everything and doing this to just be like, no, AI, to come at it with pitchforks and torches. But I just don't think that would be wise, and I feel like it would be kind of pointless. Because like I said, as humans, we are attracted to easier things. So I'm not gonna waste my breath doing that. I came to the conclusion that my real reason for doing this the way in which I am is to genuinely just bring awareness to it. I want someone to listen to this and be like, hey, I'm still gonna use it, Corinne. Sorry, not sorry. But thanks for telling me this. We'll keep that in mind, okay? If someone listens to that and does that, I will have fulfilled my purpose, okay? Just hear it from me, from the bottom of my heart. If you're gonna use AI, just do it with caution, okay? Double check, retrace your steps, make sure that what you're getting is genuinely credible. So while researching, one of the first things that I found, and kind of one of the main things I want to use, is the concept of AI hallucination. Now, when I first saw this, the topic was very foreign to me. I had never heard of it before, but it is described as when AI natural language processing tools like ChatGPT or chatbots for customer service and things like that, which I hate, by the way, they have been known to hallucinate and or provide completely false information when they don't know what to say. So a study was conducted by an organization called Curious, which, should I note, is spelled very weirdly. And it was kind of just to test, hey, what's going on with this whole AI hallucination concept? So in this study, they asked ChatGPT for information on, I believe, osteoporosis it was, and another metabolic disease I'm not going to even, embarrass myself trying to pronounce. And with the results, they noted the positives and negatives. So after asking the first question to ChatGPT, it provided, and I will say, it provided correct and valuable information. Right? It was very confident, and to the naked eye, it seemed very usable. However, when the software was asked to back up their information and to expound further into what it had said, it provided 5 references that it, and I quote unquote, used to come up with its conclusion. And after the researchers reviewed said references, it turned out that none of the paper titles genuinely existed, and all of the provided PubMed IDs belong to different and unrelated papers. So this goes back to what I was saying, yeah, it may be quick, you might think it's reliable, but dive deeper. I don't think it should just be believed so blindly. Okay, like anything else, you really want to make sure that, what you have is reliable. Another piece of information that I found, that part of me, when reading through this, I find it kind of funny. I find the whole thing kind of funny and honestly quite baffling, because this is just not, if you'd have told me 2 years ago I would have been reading up on this, I would have laughed in your face, because it just seems, I'm just get to it. So basically, I found a court case involving AI hallucination. And in said court case, it was, and I'm probably going to butcher this, Gautier, probably said that wrong, versus Goodyear Tire, the cute little tire company. How you end up having beef with the tire company is beyond me, but I digress. Like I said, this whole thing is just pretty funny. Well, the counsel for the plaintiff, the lawyer, submitted a response to the jury and to the court, and in said summary, they found that his citations were false. They were fake. They were fabricated. So while the counsel, the opposing counsel, was going through the information, obviously for fact-checking reasons, they realized that in the summary there were 2 non-existent cases cited. The information just simply did not exist, and that there were also fabricated quotations from these cases. The information was just completely made up. So of course, naturally, the opposing counsel went to the lawyer of, the counsel for the plaintiff, and was like, hey man, this information isn't real, what's going on? The lawyer admitted to using an AI tool. For his summary in a court of law, he used an AI generated, an AI generator to write his summary. And then on top of it, did not fact check. He did not verify, and he just took it for what it was. And the information was fake. Do you know how mad I would be to find out that my lawyer AI generated a summary to plead for my case? First of all, it's not even the fact that the information was fabricated that was so bad. Simply that you had to use AI for something that you for your job. You went through how many years of school just using an AI tool? Ridiculous. And it ended up backfiring so bad because the court made him pay a $2,000 penalty for the mess up, and then he had to do some training courses on using AI in the legal field. Which, once again, why is that a thing? Why is AI allowed in the legal system? That it shouldn't exist. And as I've been doing this project, I've kind of been thinking to myself, maybe it's not AI that I hate. Maybe it's the way people use it. I think this has really been like a soul-searching opportunity for me. Okay, I've been reflecting, and I would not care about AI. I really wouldn't, if it weren't for the people who just used it in such idiotic ways. That was so idiotic.